been kind of scarce lately. America's used to seeing a lot of you on television. Where you been?
Well, I've been obviously making up for a little bit of lost time with Kathy and our children. I've been trying to, get a business up and running, and I've actually been working on a book. So that's why I've been a little scarce, and I frankly didn't have a lot to say, so I've been laying low.
All right, tonight we're going to give you a chance to say a bunch of stuff, including about this very large, unprecedentedly large in the modern era, Republican presidential field. What's good about having a big field as far as you're concerned in terms of winning back the White House?
Well, I think it reflects the fact that it's a nomination worth having. I think people realize that the Republican nominee next year is going to have a very good chance of becoming the next president of the United States. Obviously, I believe that's important. I also think it's good to have fresh faces, new voices in the party. There's a good back and forth over ideas and policies. The party rank and file are being pressed to, think fresh about some policies and approaches, and I think that's a good thing for us. And as far as I'm concerned, at this stage of the game, the more the merrier.
All right. So I want to ask you about the field. We know you are Mr. Positive, so we're going to ask you to say some positive things about some of the members of this big field, starting with Marco Rubio. Tell me one thing he's done in the last 4 months that you think has been very positive in terms of his chances of being the next president, and one thing you think in the next 4 months he should do to improve his chances more.
Well, I think he had a very, very strong announcement and rollout. I kind of hate that term, but it's the term that's mostly used. And I think it reflects the fact that Marco Rubio is someone who is an incredible messenger in our party, has a great story to tell, and I think really has a grasp on the essence of America. I'm first-generation American like Marco is, and I think that he just intuitively grasps, the notion of upward mobility and opportunity, has a very, very strong appeal to I think, younger voters.
So in a phrase, what's something he can do in the next 4 months to improve his position even more, you think?
I think continue to flesh out policy positions.
Okay. Governor Bush?
I thought his speech at Liberty was really thoughtful, very, very good. Other speeches as well. I think he's been, giving substantive addresses. He's been setting the pace in the field.
Okay. And what's something he can do going forward to improve more?
I think that he's someone that, people need to get to know him a little bit better.
Okay, Ed, I'm going to ask you about two guys here who have kind of had hot hands the early going here. One of them is Scott Walker, by some measures the Republican frontrunner right now. What's he done that's been smart to get where he is, and what can he do next to put himself in an even better position?
I think he's done a very good job of adding to his executive credentials and his state record, clearly demonstrating a grasp of federal policy. I think he's got to continue to build organization and continue to build out on the ground in Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina. But he's clearly a top-tier candidate.
All right. Next guy on our list would be Ben Carson. What's he done right, and what can he do next to even be in a better spot?
Well, I think Ben Carson is someone, again, his story is so compelling. He has an ability to tap into, I think, a lot of the concerns that so many Americans have about the direction of our country. He comes at it from a very different perspective from someone who's been a governor or a senator who's run for office before, and I think that's appealing. I think going forward, he's also going to have to lay out policies, specific policies.
Guys, so distinctive messages in some ways within the party. One is Governor Huckabee, former governor of Arkansas, who's driving an economic populist message in some ways.
To me, he's someone, that the elites and the experts underestimate, always have. I think for Governor Huckabee, it's important for him to make clear that he is an all-around candidate, social issues, economic issues, and national security.
Okay. Rand Paul, what's he done? What could he do?
Well, I think Rand Paul has done a great job of pushing the party to, like I say, think fresh on a number of issues. I think going forward, he's made a strong stand, obviously, on national security. He's a little bit crosswise with many in the party in that regard. But I think, he'd do well to also lay out his positive agenda, again, which I know he has when it comes to economic growth and energy policy, health care, and other issues as well.
Okay, Ed, I got two more for you here. One from also from inside the Senate. and that would be Senator Ted Cruz from Texas. What's he done right, and what does he have to do next?
Well, Ted's got an incredible grassroots support. He's demonstrated, his intellect and his understanding of the issues. We know his story as well, first-generation American also, and I do think that, that the more people know about Ted the person, the better that will be for him as well.
All right, let's go way outside the Senate now after two senators to Carly Fiorina, the only woman in the field. What's she done right so far, and what's she have to do next?
Carly's really got a lot of buzz, and she generates a lot of enthusiasm. I have to tell you, people ask me, I hear her name a lot, and people say, do you know Carly? I do know Carly. She has got a very strong message on the corrosiveness of big government and the cronyism of it. I think she suffers a little bit from the size of the field because she's got to make sure that more people understand that she is a viable candidate, which I believe she is.
Your friend, and I do mean he is your friend, the governor of Ohio, John Kasich, who you worked with on his first presidential run.
Well, the first thing he's got to do is decide to run, and he's got a great track record. Obviously, he does have experience to bring to bear here. But for him, it's really at this point a matter of is he in or not.
So if he gets in,
if he gets in,
what does he
have
need
a big
to do?
impact.
What does he need to do if he gets in?
Well, at that point, I mean, he's got to have a good rollout. He's got to have a big announcement. He has to have his rationale for candidacy, which I think I know, what it would be. But he's got one chance to make a first impression. It's not really for him a first impression for many people, but for a lot of the country and a lot of Republicans, it is. And he's got to, get that right.
Back in 2012 and before that, and I'm sure right up until today, you've been a big advocate for the notion that the Republican Party had to broaden its appeal, particularly to demographic groups that are on the rise, Hispanics and others. The party itself seemed to grasp that explicitly at the end of 2012. I'm curious as to whether you think the party has done enough, and if it's done anything at all, to improve its image with those kind of groups over the course of the years since Governor Romney lost in November of 2012.
Well, John, as you know, parties don't really do that. They can have ideas and theories and have data. Candidates do it, and I do see candidates doing that all across in here where we have elections in the Commonwealth of Virginia this year and all across the country. I see Republican candidates, one, who look more like America today and more closely reflect our growing diversity in our society. More women candidates running, which is a good thing for us. And I see candidates taking our message to places that for too often Republicans have ignored and Democrats have taken for granted.